Hey everybody, Elko here. I hope everybody's doing great. As you can tell by the title of this video, the other day I was just thinking of the different things that we happen to struggle with in our societies. We often find ourselves each new day battling a different struggle, and at times some tend to be much more challenging than others. And so I was just trying to get into the whole dynamics of struggle as a concept. Being able to resist and withstand struggle on a daily basis doesn't always happen to be easy. And so a very interesting analogy came to my mind at the time. A gentleman on the internet called Naval Ravikant speaks of something called the modern struggle. And what amazes me the most is how he outlines the clear difference between the modern and the ancient struggle. So a struggle, ideally, as you know, is supposed to be, I would say, a challenge, right? I would say something that we find difficulty in overcoming or going through. He says, well, the ancient struggle, as in terms of comparison to the modern struggle, differs in quite a lot, right? So with the ancient struggle, it was more of like tribal struggle, this was something that was collective. You wouldn't really go through it as much and feel the impact of it as an individual in a very deep or in a very great manner to affect you. So a typical example of this would be back in the days, what you'd have is you'd have your family, you'd have your village, you'd have your kingdom. And what you may struggle with back then would be other tribes, right? And so that's very different to what we have today as the modern struggle, because the modern struggle actually comes to you as an individual, right? So you're found in a position where you have to deal with a large number of things as an individual. And that's what makes it, I would say, more challenging, makes it much, much harder, right? So let me give a typical example. If you're living alone, you're as a person, as a grown-up person, you're living alone, whether it's an apartment or a house or whatever, you're living alone. You don't live with your parents, your friends don't live close by, your families don't live close by. And so you're found in a space where you're dealing with all these things. And for reference, I'm speaking about the mob, right? So you've got a number of people that are focused into getting you addicted to certain things, and you stand alone, and when these people come to attack you, you stand alone. That's probably the biggest and unfortunate part about all this, right? So if you look at pharmaceuticals, for example, right, they've managed to grow them and synthesize them in a way to get us addicted to these things. You look at sugar, sugar causes great diseases, but they've still managed to get us to a point where we can almost not live without sugar, right? We're always tending to eat stuff with sugar, even though they cause these great diseases. Video games, like a lot more. It goes as far as porn. So it's so many things that are designed to keep you addicted to them. And guess what? You stand alone, right? So as a person who lives alone, who tries to hustle for his life alone, you don't believe in God, you don't have ancestral belief, you don't have tribal meaning, you're separated from all these origins of yourself. And when these attacks come to you, you stand alone, right? And this, I believe, makes it much, much harder to battle with the modern struggle, right? We find ourselves at times so busy on social media to a point where we're unable to do anything else. And that's one of the tools, right? They've used social media and they've mastered the craft of putting it at our service to a point where it's the only thing that we're occupied with, right? And so many other things that they've used just to get us to a point where we only give our full attention to these things and are disconnected from the outside world, right? And we're fighting this battle alone. That's the whole purpose of the modern struggle. And so resisting these challenges, resisting these struggles would be the ultimate part of it. So remember then, anything to retain from this, we're currently in the modern world fighting a battle where we all stand alone. Each and every one of us stand alone in this, Whereas in the olden days, you would have a group of people, a certain group of people, whether it's your families and your people from your tribal origin, to back you up. We're unfortunately now at a time where each and every one of us stand alone. And the greatest struggle of the time being is being able to resist all these different things that I just mentioned, you know. And so I'd like to know from you people down in the comment section, sincerely, a question from me to you: are you a victim of the modern struggle? Thank you.